Hello, everybody. Sorry about being a few minutes late there. I was trying to get situated with some notes. But anyway, without further ado, I'm here. I'm live. And as normal, I am using StreamYard. So please, if you are on and you would like me to see your comments, please um, allow StreamYard to see who you are so that I could see your comments and interact with you because tonight is going to be a little more interactive. It's just me, y'all. It's just me. So, hello to all the regulars and everybody that comes on. I do appreciate you every week and all your support. And if I don't see you, I still appreciate you for watching the replay. So, I'm gonna say hey to a couple people as they come on. Hey, Charina. Hey, Michelle. Um, thank you guys so much for joining and being faithful supporters. I know my mama gonna get on YouTube here in a minute, more than likely, unless she got a game or something to go to for one of my little cousins. But anyway, I see a few more people are coming on. But today I was kind of struggling and I was like, what am I gonna talk about? Hey, coach. I was like, what am I going to talk about? And I had to go visit my good old friend Michelle because we are getting ready. Hey, baby. It's my baby. Hey, Anthony. We're talking about Anthony and Ryan because they are getting married in about 3 weekends. So um, she's going to make a beautiful cake for them. No pressure, Michelle, no pressure. But she's going to make their wedding cake. So this is going to be awesome. So I was meeting with her and I was like, Michelle, and I was just talking with her and expressing. And initially, I was going to talk about boundaries, but that's a whole nother, like, I got a whole thing. Hey, Ryan, about boundaries. And we'll get into that later. But we started just going back and forth, and she actually shared a scripture with me, and it kind of coincided with some stuff that Damon had shared with me earlier in the day. And let me see. I know I don't normally pull up and talk about scriptures necessarily, but let me find this scripture for y'all real quick. It's Isaiah 45:3. Let me pull it up. I know y'all was thinking she had all day and all time to get prepared for this. Kind of, I did. But it says, and this is from the New International Version. It says, "Turn to me and be saved, all you ends of the earth, for I am God and there is no other." So, um another version, it says, um "I will give you hidden treasures, riches stored in secret places, so that you may know that I am the Lord, the God of Israel, who summons you by name." And so when we think about hidden treasures, right, that's how we got started talking about that. We were talking about hidden treasures. See, I told y'all my mama was gonna come. Hey, mama. But so we were talking about hidden treasures, and then a couple weeks ago I posted on Monday about um, you know, being in the dark and how God's working on you and using you in the dark. Hey, Tiffany. And Tiffany is Ryan's mom, y'all. So it's like the whole family's on. So thank y'all for being here. But we were talking about that and it kind of just like sparked up all this stuff. So I am going to read to you this. It's called The Story of the Butterfly. And you may have heard it, but if you haven't, here you go. And if you have, we're going to talk about it. And so, I mean, for real, y'all, come on. Like, this is going to be interactive. So, the story of the butterfly. A man found a cocoon of a butterfly. One day, a small opening appeared. He sat and watched the butterfly for several hours as it struggled to squeeze its body through the tiny hole. Then it stopped, as if it couldn't go further. So the man decided to help the butterfly. He took a pair of scissors and snipped off the remaining bits of cocoon. The butterfly emerged easily, but it had a swollen body and shriveled wings. The man continued to watch it, expecting that any minute the wings would enlarge and expand enough to support the body. Neither happened. In fact, the butterfly spent the rest of its life crawling around. It was never able to fly. What the man in his kindness and haste did not understand, the restricting cocoon and the struggle required by the butterfly to get through the opening was a way of forcing the fluid from the body into the wings so that it would be ready for flight once that was achieved. Sometimes struggles are exactly what we need in our lives. Going through life with no obstacles would cripple us. We will not be as strong as we could have been, and we would never fly. So have a nice day and struggle a little and teach well. So I don't know who the author of this was. It's just on there. Um, Demond actually had shared it with me this morning, and it was a man saying it. So I just thought this man came up with it because, it might have been on Instagram or TikTok or something. But then he said he sent it to me, and I was like, where is it? Where is it? But then I found that it's a real story. And so that's that. So hence why I came up with this necessary pressure slash pain and enabling, because I think when I had Tammy on from Titan Publishing a couple weeks ago, we kind of talked about it because it was such a powerful thing that Coach who's on, he talked about this same kind of thing, but this has just really been brewing in my spirit so much, and to where the enabling part came in, because God puts us through this pressure, right? Sometimes we go through these pressures because God created the butterfly, right? No doubt. God created this butterfly. And he knew that before this butterfly ever existed, before it went into that cocoon, it was a caterpillar. And he knew that one day it would have to go into this cocoon and go through this pressure that causes so much pain. And it's hard to get through this little tiny hole to come out, but it was necessary, right? It was necessary for that butterfly to go through that. And then it would be the butterfly and it could fly, right? And it would be beautiful and all this stuff about the butterfly. So God knows the same thing about us. He knows what he has planned for us. We sometimes want to take a detour and go to the left, right? And he's like, all you got to do, I done lit this path up and, lit the pathway for you, giving you directions and guidance on where you're supposed to go. But, I've also given you free choice and free will, right? So you can go left if you want to, but I'm gonna bring you back eventually. And yes, mama, you have to make mistakes to learn and grow. And so that's where the enabling part comes in. So just like that man, he thought he was helping the butterfly, right? He thought that, I'm gonna do this good thing. I see this little bug just struggling. So I'm gonna just cut it a little bit so that it can come on out. Because I just wanted to come on out, right? But then it kind of hindered the process, right? God's process. It caused more pain. It didn't allow the butterfly to reach its full potential. So it just stayed, right? So sometimes we do that with each other, right? Damon and I talk about this all the time because as a mom and things that happen in my own life, then I worry about my children, right? Even though God didn't give me a mind to worry, but I do. I think about, I don't want them to make the same mistakes that I made. And do they need to struggle a little bit? No, I don't want them to struggle, right? But maybe, just maybe, that struggle is necessary for them to get their wings and fly. So have I been hindering my children? I don't know. But it's something for you to think about, because there are times where, yes, indeed, 100% we should help somebody, right? Without a doubt. But then there's also times where you have to really use discernment and I like what Coach Brian always says to me. Did you talk to God? you know, and sometimes it is kind of like, dude, just give me the answer. But would he be enabling me? Right? Would I be able to reach that full potential if he just gave me the answer? Because then there's another part of me, and I'm gonna talk to y'all about parts one day, but there's another part of me that's just like, oh, just give it to me because I don't want to make a mistake, right? So thinking about what my mama just said, you have to make the mistakes to learn and grow, right? If I don't stumble and fall sometimes and scratch up my elbows and my knees, I won't know what that feels like. I won't know, I won't be able to appreciate it. And I'm thinking about that in, just because I do have kids, right? If I never let them work and do things and have responsibilities, now that they're grown, what kind of grown man would Anthony be? What kind of grown woman would Maya be? Maybe a more dependent one that couldn't stand up and fly, right? Then so that's where that enabling piece comes from. And so I want y'all to kind of chime in on this, because um, I'm really thinking about that is, what are your thoughts about this? And like I said, this is interactive because what I said is just that. It's, we have to go through this pressure sometimes, and sometimes it's painful. Sometimes it's really painful. But I look back over my life, and had I not gone through all those things, all the things that I went through, would I be the best dang on counselor in Columbus, Georgia? No. And I know I'm just going to, hey, Amy, my aunt is on, y'all. My namesake, like, well, I guess I'm her namesake, but hey, um, but if I hadn't gone through all of that, would I be able to have empathy, compassion, and just the wherewithal to work with the people that I work with, because I work with trauma all day long. Now, people have depression, yes, and that's a whole nother word that I was talking about, is that pressure that people have to go through, right? They don't want it, they don't want to feel it, so they go into that dark space, right? Because they're trying to depress themselves, right? Because the pressure is on so much, right? And it feels tight and it hurts and it feels painful and it's dark in there, but it's that pressure of coming out of that cocoon. But we just want to stop that process. So that's how we enable ourselves. We stop that process by becoming depressed, because that's just too much for us. We feel overwhelmed, and so we try to depress ourselves, even though God is putting that pressure on us so that we can grow, so we can get to that next level of where we're supposed to be. But hey, Mr. Gunn, um, and so that's what this is all about. So I just want to ask you, so, if somebody wants to pop on, I don't know if we can do it from here, but I know, I think I don't know if I can do it on here, but I know I could do it on my phone. That if you want to come on, you could come on the screen with me and we could talk about, or you could share your part, or I can just read it. Let's see, Tiffany, you said it's one of the hardest things to do as a parent nowadays. I worry so much about doing it right. Absolutely. We worry that we're not, yes, Ryan, encourage your mom. She's doing it, but we question, are we doing it right? And I have this fond memory of my dad. He would he would have meetings with me just individually. I know we had family meetings, but he would also meet with me individually as his child. And he would talk to me and impart wisdom in me. But one of the things that he would always ask me is, do you think I'm being a good dad? I'm like, what kind of question is that? I don't know. I don't know what a daddy's supposed to be like. But then I was honest. I would say, yeah. And I wasn't selfish about like, well, no, because you didn't let me do X, Y, and Z, or you didn't let me have this amount of money, or you didn't do all these things. But I looked around at some of my friends who had absent fathers, right? Um, who didn't even know their dad, or they were in and out. So for me, I was like, dude, you here every day? We eat dinner every day. Like, I think you good. I got everything that I need and some a whole bunch of stuff that I want. But I also remember just him questioning, am I being a good dad? And sometimes we can talk to our kids. We can talk to our nieces and nephews, or our younger generations, and ask them, do you think I'm being a good aunt? Do you think I'm being a good mom? Do you think I'm being a good dad? Do you think I'm being a good cousin? Because sometimes they have stuff, they have needs that we're not really helping them with, because we might be thinking that they're in this cocoon. But yeah, we got to talk to God about it to see if they're in this cocoon, but they really might need help. But sometimes, there's what we call legacy burdens, and that's all the stuff from generations that we weren't even there, maybe from our enslaved ancestors, or maybe if you're Jewish, something from like your Jewish cultures, or religious reasons that's just passed on to us, racial things that's passed on to us. And I'm talking about on both sides. Like, if people are like, oh, black people are nasty and dirty, those things, or if, oh, you can't trust white people, whatever that is, whatever that looks like for you, those are legacy burdens. They're not yours. They're not yours to carry. But sometimes people have those things and we don't understand why we have them. And so for our younger generations, you might be able to help them with some of that. You might help them to understand that. That's not necessarily enabling somebody, but just doing things for somebody, when, like in that butterfly case, just doing it for them, helping them to get out of that situation. But that could be the process that they have to go through to reach their highest potential. And you're going to stop that. So don't do that. But yeah, question and ask, am I doing things right? They'll tell you, they'll tell you. And you can tell too, if, if they're just making up stuff because they want their way. A few more people came on. So, hey, Marco, hey, Tammy. Um, so what are some other thoughts that you guys are having about this? Like, um, I had another thought and it just kind of had lost me, because I was also thinking about oh yeah, I remember now. I remember when Damon and I first got married, and child, we was like, I think there was an OR in there, but for the beginning we was a little bit so we didn't make as much money as we do now, obviously, right? But we were two E4s in the Army. I think I had, like, back then it's like you had to have like 2 years and you got a little bit of money, and then like 4 years you got your next pay raise, right? So we were a little bit struggling, and but I guess my dad thought we were in that cocoon. So he was like, and I had Maya, so there was a baby there too, right, Kilo. um so that was our MOS, y'all, by the way, because we went to school with Carrington, with Marco. So we were a little bit poor. We was going through the struggle bus just like everybody else, I'm sure, when you first start out at a young age. um and so I remember there was a time where I was like, man, Demond, we can't pay the light bill. Like, I don't know what to do. It was like things kind of piled up or whatever. But yeah, we were still living our best life. We were still like doing things like, maybe we'll go out to eat, or maybe we went to the movies and things like that. So we weren't necessarily just poor, like not able to do anything. But by my standard of living, because of the lifestyle that I had, it was less than that. So I was like, Mom, Dad, I called them. Can y'all give me some money so that we can pay our bills? And then, of course, I got to throw in the baby. So it's like, I don't even know if we got enough money to get Maya some Pampers. And they was like, well, I guess you better figure that out. And I was like, what? Like, what you mean? Because for the most part, I never really had to ask my parents for anything. And if I did, they never really said no that I can remember. So I was like, what you mean? I gotta figure. I'm like, we might not have no milk and pampers for this baby, and we might not have lights. Like, how? But you know what? They didn't enable me. They didn't give me the money. And we came out of that cocoon because, then this is the other thing Michelle and I were going to talk about: favor, God's favor. That He said, and I'm talking about God, He said that He would provide all my needs, right? That I didn't have to struggle. But because I came from a praying family, I was like, Lord, you got to help us because I can't, I my baby needed their pampers. We got to pay, pay this light bill. We got to get to work. All this different kind of stuff I'm praying about, and He provided. We didn't go without. So had my parents enabled me, would would I have learned to lean more on God? Would I have learned to that prayer really works? Would we have been financial, like that helped us to be like, okay, yeah, we can't be going to the movies and we got to slow down on this eating out or whatever. So would we have learned those things if they would have just said, yeah, here's the money, here, every time we needed it? Let's see what some of y'all are saying. So Marco is saying, I have learned that if we never face adversity, we can never see our real potential. Our test really can become your testimony or your lifelong crutch. Boy, if you don't preach that thing right there, that's exactly it. That's exactly what we're talking about. It can be your lifelong crutch because you know what happens? You end up being dependent upon other people. You always are a victim and you never grow to your real potential. So yes, oh, I'm sorry. That was my cousin Maggie that said that. I'm so sorry. I just saw y'all's name right there close together. So cousin Maggie, she said that. So yes, that is so true. It can become your lifelong crutch. And we see it sometimes, maybe like with rich kids, they don't get in trouble. They never really have to experience anything because they come from an affluent family, and then people pay to get them out of the stuff and all of that. And then look what happens, bad stuff. They never learn from it. Um, Ryan, oh, she said, that's me and Anthony right now. Yes, baby, we letting y'all come through y'all cocoon. There's light, I promise, and you gonna get wings. So Ryan also says, what my dad has always said to me was, whatever you do, however you do it, you suffer the consequence, no matter if it's good or bad. Huh. Yes, and thank you, Tammy. Exactly. The struggle is necessary. And so yes, Ryan, just to add on to what your dad is saying, it's true. There's gonna be a consequence. There's people always think of consequences as bad, but there are good consequences, right? There are good things that come out of it because let's just say the butterfly stays in the cocoon. It never sees the light of day. It never knows that it will look like one of those beautiful things flying on the wall. Not really flying on the wall, but flying in the air. Butterflies are so pretty, right? They have all these different colors and and just beautiful beings. But you'll never know that you'll be that beautiful being if you stay in that cocoon because you're scared to come out. You're scared to come out of that darkness because there is light. That struggle hurts. Yes, squeezing out through this little tiny hole hurts. But again, if somebody just cuts it for you, you're just gonna fall out and flop, and then you're not even a caterpillar for real. I don't even know what those are, but they just look like blobs. So it's not even the old way as a caterpillar. It's just something else. So Tanisha, hey girl, she said some parents don't like to say no because they try to give their children everything that they didn't have growing up. But in doing that, it somewhat handicaps the kids. Exactly. And okay, Tammy, you're saying that's how we know we need Jesus for everything. That is so true. Carrington, you're saying they are the greatness of nature with their changes. What do you mean, Tiffany? I'm some parents. Um, there's something I had a client earlier today, y'all, and I was talking to him about inner vows. And that's kind of like what Tanisha is saying. We create these inner vows based on things that we, something that caused us a struggle, right? Something that caused us significant pain or pressure that we didn't like. It doesn't necessarily have to be a traumatic event, but it is just something that we promised ourselves, like, that we are not going to do. So for instance, let's say you're from like a highly religious family and they went to church all the time, and I'm talking about like Sunday, they had church from like 9 with the Sunday school, and then they had church, and then you got to come back for the afternoon service at 3 o'clock, and then Monday you might have choir practice. Tuesday you got something. Wednesday you got Bible study. Thursday, you got something else, the ushers meeting, whatever. All these different things that you're always at church, right? So I could make an inner vow to myself that I'm not going to do that to my kids. I'm not going to put them through that. And then what happens? You start to maybe dislike church because you spent so much time there. So you're like, I'm not even taking my kids to church. Um, or let's say, you grew up where you might have had only 2 or 3 pairs of pants and 1 pairs of shoes, and maybe 4 or 5 shirts just to get through the week. So you had to wear the same pants a couple days out of the week, and you at least had a different shirt every day. And so then you grow up and you're like, that struggle might help you in a way, but then here's where the negative consequence comes in, and it could cause a handicap for you because you grew up that way. You did not want your children to grow up that way, and then no longer will you be held to that. So you decide, you know what, I'm going to have a closet full of clothes. I'm going to have so much clothes. My kids are going to have like all the Air Jordans and polo, like with the real jockey guy, not the one from Burlington. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just like, I'm gonna have all the name brand clothes because I didn't have that, right? So you spend all these oodles and oodles of money trying to make sure you have this life that you had because, again, you didn't trust God. You didn't think that He was going to provide a way. So you thought, I'm going to make my own way, right? And that's what that really looks like. You're not doing those things, but it causes you a handicap. It also causes your children a handicap because now they have all this stuff that they have no need for, but do they have the love of their parents? And I know I'm getting a little off tangent, but sometimes that struggle, the children need you. They don't need the things. Um, so yeah, anyway, let's see. What else are y'all talking about? Oh, okay. You're saying Tiffany is saying that's why she struggles with it so much because she's like some parents that want to make sure their children have everything. I think that's what you're saying. But yeah, I did that too. I think Maya was maybe, and Maya's my daughter, y'all. I don't know if y'all remember her, but she was maybe like 12. Well, let me back up. She was about 8. And I remember, both Damon and I were in the Army, and she had said to me, um, she wrote this article for the newspaper. It was like Veterans Day, I want to say. And she wrote an article thing, like a little story. And so she was just talking about how great it was, for soldiers, and she appreciates them. And like both her mommy and her daddy were soldiers, and her uncle and her, like all these people in her family. And so, I talked to her about it, and, you know, she said to me, and man, it just like made my heart crush, that she said, um, well, mommy, I know that, well, she had like a field trip, and she's like, I didn't ask you. And I was like, how come you didn't ask me? And she said, because I know you have to go take care of your soldiers. Man, if I didn't feel like this big, like I am the worst parent ever because I was making all these other things important in my life, um, except for my children, right? Everything else was important. man, that just like messed me up, and I was like, what? And so then I was just like, oh, I have to go to everything that they do now. You know what I mean? Just because she said that. And then we were giving them like everything, like, here, you want this, you want that. And then when she was about 12, she spent like the night or weekend or something like that with a friend who had a whole bunch of adoptive children. And she just said they didn't really have much, and she was just kind of like, man, they struggle, like they don't have anything over there, but they have love. And so it reminded me again that I wasn't being the parent that I should have been. And see, even through that, she was saying these kids were over there, they didn't have much, but she didn't really see it as a struggle because they were they had all the stuff that they needed, not necessarily everything that they wanted. So yes, did the kids have clean clothes? Yes. Were they able to wash themselves and have food? Yes. But did they have the brand new well, back then it was like I forgot what the Wii. Did they have a brand new Wii or Xbox or any of that kind of stuff? No. But I guarantee you my kids had all of it, you know, and we weren't that way either growing up. I didn't have all of those things. I didn't have a whole bunch of name brand stuff. So it was kind of like I was making that inner vow for my own self that my kids are going to have all this stuff, and it's not that my parents couldn't afford it or anything like that. They just didn't see the necessity in it because they valued more of us spending family quality time. So we would ride bikes. So I'm like, I'm just thinking my kids want these things, so I'm going to make sure they have those things. But did I hinder them? Maybe. Tiffany is saying, our girls are truly amazing and so different in their own ways. We do try to, or did try to give them what we didn't get as kids, and it shows. LOL, one child has grew wings faster than the other, and they definitely fly in their own direction. I wondered if I enabled so much that it created a difficult position for myself. Ooh, girl, that's good because I often wonder the same thing. Did I see my children as being very different individuals, growing up in the same house with the same parents. We see that in all of our children, not we're all uniquely and wonderfully made. And so, yeah, we come out of our cocoon and our wings look totally different from somebody else's. But did, as us as parents, do we enable our children in some way, trying and projecting, that's the word, projecting our things onto them, which hence again enables them. Oh, Tanisha, baby, she says she's an only child. Only children are something else. My daddy was an only child, and my husband grew up as an only child. So she says, I'm an only child. My parents bought me plenty of stuff. However, I can't tell you 75% of the stuff that they bought. I do remember every game that they came to, every school event that they came to, and every time they were there for me when I needed them emotionally. Girl, if that ain't, that's what I'm talking about. Like my parents were that, we had plenty of stuff, but they were at everything. Like when I tell y'all I ran track, I don't know if I ever told y'all that. I ran track. Can't run. Boy, that is not a talent or a gift that I have. But my parents were at every track meet that they could go to. And eventually I made it to like maybe like fourth out of six, but never first place. But they were there rooting for me and cheering for me and telling me, like, you got it, baby. You did better than last time. You know what I mean? Keep practicing, keep working at it. They were always there. And let's see, Tanisha, she's also saying, I've been guilty of that as well. Overindulging my girls. Now I'm dealing with the consequences behind it, trying to teach them the value of money and financial responsibility. Child, that's a whole nother thing right there. Because, I don't know how old y'all are, but I'm 46, right? Well, we had ATMs that you had to go to, right? You had to go to the ATM or you had to go to the bank and cash the check. There was no little money thing on the corner where you could, quick check cash in, or there was definitely not no Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. It was none of that, right? But now I swear, I taught my kids. I taught them, let's go to the bank. I'm going to show you what the bank is, how you go inside the bank, and how, I had them make their own transactions. But not everybody gets that experience, right? And so these kids, some of them have never even really touched money. They don't even know what money feels like, because they just know, hey, you could cash app something and it's there in like 3 seconds. It's there and you get notification that it's there. So in some ways is social media and all this fast, what I call the microwave stuff, is it enabling us? Is it enabling our children? Um, I think so. What do y'all think? Do you think it is? Because like how Tanisha's saying, well, how can I value money if I never really feel it? I never really get to see it. Do people really give you cash in hand anymore? No. My cousin Brandy's on. She said her daughter is the Cash App queen, right? And that's all you see, people is posting their Cash Apps. Um, is just crazy that how this stuff has, again, like going back to what cousin Maggie said, it can be a crutch because we can just, the kids, Mom, I need something. How much? You ain't even checked the account to make sure you got it. You just out there just like here, and actually I had to do that the other day. I didn't have my glasses on. Anthony asked me, sorry, baby, but he just asked me for $20. I don't know what he needed the $20 for, but I saw 208 because of the way he wrote the dollar sign on there. And I think I was like this, so I can't see. And I just saw this, I saw 208, not $20 sign. I didn't sent the boy $208, not even thinking about it. Right. I had the money, thankfully, but it was also his birthday, and I was going to give him, he turned 23. So I usually give them 100 plus whatever their age is. So I gave him $123. I was going to give to him anyway. So I was like, hey, you need to send me back that $85. So, I mean, but just to be able to just do it, no questions asked, what's wrong with me? No questions asked. And so anyway, Tanisha's talking about I blessed him. Well, I blessed him, but he had to send me back that $85. Ryan saying kids being 11 and 12 right now can just go online and make their own bank account through an app. Lord have mercy. I didn't even know that. See, I'm lost because, my little whatever y'all are, Generation Z kids, because I think Anthony, y'all are not millennials. But yeah, y'all gone, so I don't even know, unless y'all tell me. But that's crazy. So you're 11 and 12 and you can start your own online bank or get a bank account? That is crazy. But like, where they getting money to put in there? I mean, I know it's one thing to get like birthday money and things like that. But anyway, I know I done went way off tangent, but I just really, okay, yeah, see, Anaya is 12 with the Cash App. Man, y'all teaching me something today because I did not know. But I'm thinking when people have the Cash App, they mostly, it's like, most people I see, it's like, it's in my name, but it's for my, I'm saying it's for my baby, because whenever I see people and they put their Cash App up and it's for their kids, for their kid's birthday, and I send money, I'd be like, make sure, and then I talk to the kid. I just sent your mama $20 for you. Make sure she tell you, make sure she give you your money, But so Ryan's saying for real, these days, 11 and 12-year-olds act a lot older, in my opinion. That's kind of scary to me. Now, y'all, Ryan's 21, and she's saying that's kind of scary to her. So just imagine, like, the responsibility that we are, that we're giving these kids. And I mean, it's nothing wrong if your kid has that, or, you're supervising them to some extent, because, people are out there scamming. But, I know like I said, I got way off tangent, but we are, I believe that to some levels we could be really enabling ourselves and our children by not, by trying to just cut that little piece, just cutting that one little piece. And oh yeah, Tanisha is saying the acting older is because of the unsupervised cell phones. And y'all remember, she just came on last week, so she knows at school how cell phones are. Boy, I tell you, I sometimes I love my phone, and it does so much. This little Android for y'all iPhone folks, it does so much, but it's also very enabling. Like, I just like, it was helpful that I could type in real quick and I found this Bible verse to share, right? But it also can be very dangerous in the wrong hands, or in immature hands that don't really know. um you know because now it's so easy. Like, I almost bought something on Amazon because I got to click the swipe thing real fast. See, it enable it. That's very enabling, and it's a crutch to me because I'm like, I didn't mean to try to buy this. I was just looking it up. And you have to go back in and hurry up and cancel it or something, just because it's just like the buy with the swipe. What if that's an accident? But your kid gets your phone. My grandson always picks up somebody's phone, always. So he be on here taking pictures, doing all kinds of stuff. He's 2, and he know how to use a phone. So is it creating a crutch for him that he doesn't know? Maybe he doesn't really understand fully what he's doing. That, oh, if he accidentally gets on my Amazon app and he swipes something because he knows just to do this to get off to the next screen, now he buying stuff, and I got charges up on my thing. I mean, it's just, we really have to supervise them. Tanisha also says cell phones with unlimited access is dangerous. Yes. um she says she sees the other side of it with the ones that she does counseling with. Yes, it can be very dangerous. After we went live last week, we ended up talking for a little bit more, y'all, and Tanisha and I were talking about how um like porn is available to, I know it sounds crazy, but it looks like cartoons, but it's like porn, really. Like, you see 2 cartoon characters just out there. And that's crazy because I mean, I it's so accessible to these kids. And if you don't have these parental apps on there, you're exposing them to a lot of different things. So sometimes maybe that's our enabling piece, that we are not supervising them because we're trusting them with something that, should we trust them? Yes, to some extent, but we're giving them, it's too much responsibility for a 10-year-old, a 9-year-old. It's too much responsibility. But we make excuses. So here comes where we start to enable them. We make excuses. Oh, well, I got to get in touch with them during the day. For what? They at school. Call the school. Um, but when they go somewhere, I need to know how to get in touch with them. Where is your child going? And they at such a young age that you don't know where they at, and you got to get in touch with them, that you can't call wherever they are. I'm just thinking, or that they're not with an adult. But people do. They just, I guess, you just drop your kid off. But I know, like, if my mama dropped us off at the skating rink and she need to get in touch with us, she called the skating rink, and you just hear your name over the intercom, Juana Watford, to the to the front desk, and I mean, that's it. But it's more of a convenience for us. It's not necessarily that it's for them, but it's for us, because again, when we talk about parts, I'm gonna have to help y'all with that. We are allowing our parts that feel insecure and embarrassed or unprotected or guilty or whatever it is. Remember, like those inner vows, those things that we created for ourselves, we're projecting them onto our kids. So then we're saying, well, they need to have that. No, when the street lights come on, you're supposed to be in the house. What happened to all that stuff? But yeah, so anyway, I just wanted to kind of bring up just for food for thought, because I know, man, this time went by fast, but just for you to think about, about that butterfly. Are we cutting the sack too early? And whether it's with your child or your spouse or a friend, or another family member, any relationship that you have, or even for yourself. Tammy said they called us the 6 o'clock family. I'm saying, because them street lights came on, you better be up in there. And that's, I know I was getting ready to end, but think about that. I remember at my grandma's house, there was a man down the street from her, about 3 houses down, and his name was Mr. Peabody. Even, all the women on the street, all the way down, and even him, oh, your big mama gonna get y'all. Y'all better hurry up. It's like they sent like the word down the street all the way to the park, which was like a block, 2 blocks away. But we knew that we had to get up in the house real quick, but we didn't have no cell phone. So how did that word get there? But anyway, we just knew, right? But we have relaxed so much as generations go by, because we are, kind of, whatever, feeling guilty, trying to project the things that we didn't have, causing enablement, to our younger generations. So I just want you to think about that as you're going through life. Like, don't clip that sack too soon, or don't try to help clip the sack, if it's not necessary, because you don't know what that person needs to go through to get to their next level. So we don't want to cause hindrance to their potential, to the growth that they have, because I definitely don't want anybody to not reach, transcend to their next level because of me, something that I did. And so just, if there's something that you can think about, that pray about that. Just take time, pray about it. Ask for forgiveness, and remember, forgiveness is not necessarily that you have to go and meet the other person and talk to them about it. But if it's your kids, talk to them. Yes, Carrington, let it go through the transformation, right? That's the bottom line. Just let it go through the transformation. Now, obviously, you don't want to not step in if there's danger, right? If there's hurt, harm, or danger that's going to happen, you obviously want to step in, right? But when you're going to cause hurt, harm, or danger, and sometimes it's unintentional, but just, do what you can to get through that and help that person, and recognize that you were enabling, you know but anyway, you have to share it too. What you mean you have to share it? Oh, shape it too. Yes. Yes. That's right. So, I just wanted to take a little moment and talk to y'all about that. And so just think of that story. You can look it up on Google if you want to. I just typed in the butterfly story and it came up. So it's something really good. I think I'm gonna print it out and laminate it because I really like that. Um, Mama says a lot of young mothers want to be friends and not a mother. Ooh, child. Yes, yes. We can be friends when you get old and grown, right? Our relationship changes, but right now I need to be your mama, and I told you what I told you, So, but anyway, I just wanted to kind of bring that in to y'all, just knowing that some struggle and pain and pressure is worth it. Like, you're supposed to have it so that you can learn and grow and be transformed to what you are supposed to be, reaching your highest potential. And just be mindful of the enabling piece. Okay. Um, so as always, I was gonna say something I do intentional, but I don't have a guest on. But right, Tammy, that's a whole other podcast. It show is. So anyway, y'all, also I'm gonna post another video after this. It was from 2 years ago, and this is before I go, because my mama said you should talk about National Suicide Awareness. And I was like, yeah, maybe. Well, I had a memory pop up, and it was 2 years ago exactly. And I shared about my testimony, a struggle that I went through um, with, working. Y'all all heard my testimony about my job. It was the first time I ever shared that testimony about the job. And that was a struggle, that I was going through this part-time job making $12.34, but it was necessary to get to that government job that I did have, that I left so that I could be in my own practice, right? But also I did talk about National Suicide Awareness. And so I do want to share that because it was really good. Actually, I was like, it wasn't I didn't have the podcast and I was just doing lives. So or actually I had just started the podcast. So it was just a live that I did, but it was really informative, talking about restoration and manifest. And so sometimes, we like I was saying, we want to stop that pressure. So we depress ourselves so that that necessary pressure doesn't happen. And then you can end up having those suicidal thoughts, right? And so that's kind of what that was talking about. So I'm going to post that. So it's only 15 minutes. It ain't all night like this, but it's yeah, it's really good. And it just talks about our mindset and how the enemy comes in to kill, steal, and destroy, right? That's what the enemy's supposed to do. It's supposed to give us negative mindset so that we can't reach our full potential. So it says, stay in this cocoon because it's dark and safe, and I want you to be here because it's scary out there, right? But everything that the enemy has taken away from us, God will restore it, and he'll blow your mind like more than you can imagine or think. And I know that he's done it for me more than once. I know he will do it for you. And just to speak on the suicide part, I did touch on that I did attempt to take my life when I was 19 years old because the pressure was too much. But again, it was a part of me that didn't feel worth living, a part of me that felt worth less. A part of me that had guilt and shame and embarrassment because of what I had gone through. And it was just like, there's no other way. But, I did talk about that in there. So I want to just leave you with that, you know, don't be afraid to come out of your cocoon and don't stop somebody else from coming out of theirs. Okay. I love you all. This has been great. I love interacting with y'all. I think it's going to be me again next week because but I'm trying to see if I can get another mental health professional on because it is Mental Health Awareness Month. So, or there's a week in there, I believe. So, anyway, like I always say, I'm here, it's now, and I am alive. Y'all be blessed and have a great night, and I will see y'all next week.